I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast,
episode 16. Alrighty, welcome back everybody to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we discuss the Munsters, basically everything involving the Munsters. Tivis, how are you doing today, man?
Oh, perfectly better. Not perfectly better. A lot better.
A lot better. Awesome. Before we get started, everybody, please let us know what you think of the show by leaving us some comments or likes or reviews, whatever it is, on whatever service you're listening and or watching us on. And also you can hit us up on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, through the MunsterCast or via the MunsterCast. Sorry. We're all on there. You can find us on all of it. We're starting to do a little bit more posts and here and there, so hopefully we'll you're
starting to do a little more posts?
I'm trying to. I'm also getting more busy again, so we'll see how it goes.
More busy?
More busy. More busy-ish. More busier. So yeah, you can hit us up on all those things, or if you guys just want to reach out to us via email, you can do that at themunstercast@outlook.com. And what can they send us there, Tivis? Do you know?
Thoughts, comments, ways we can improve the show.
Okay.
Really anything at all. You just want someone to talk to.
We're not your therapist though, so chill. Yeah. So just hit us up on there. Let us know anything that you want Munsters wise and about our show, and or if you want to try and come on the show and discuss your love for the Munsters or something. Maybe we can do special episodes here and there with specific guests and fans. So yeah. All right. So do you got anything before we dive on into this, Tivis?
I think I might have cursed us our last episode.
Uh-oh.
I said, knock on wood, we should be finishing at a certain time unless something comes up.
Yep.
And then the week later, something comes up.
Yeah. So we're a week out from you guys listening. So we apologize for that, but thank you for continuing on listening still. So really, really cool. Life happens. I'm sure people understand that. This is why we try and get a catalog built up of episodes, but life has been happening a lot lately, so we haven't really had a chance to do so.
We'll get some more down the pipe.
Yeah. But season 1's coming to an end for us soon, so we only have a few more episodes left of the show, of the podcast anyways, for season 1 of the Munsters. So we'll definitely try and get things more smoothed out by season 2 for you guys. All right. My dog is snoring very loudly. I don't know if it can come through on the mic or not.
I can't hear it.
Awesome.
Email us if you can hear it. All right. So you jump into this?
Yeah, let's go on to it, man.
All right. Season 1, episode 30, Country Club Munsters, aired April 15th, 1965. Written by Douglas Tibbles, who we last saw with Don't Bank on It, Herman. Or Don't Bank on Herman. Sorry. I screwed it up again. Norm Liebman and Ed Haas. Directed by Joseph Pevney again. The guests this episode are Woodrow Parfrey, I think I'm saying that right, as Mr. Petrie, J. Edward McKinley as Mr. Murdoch, who will come back in the future, Al Checo as Duke Feinberg, I spelled it wrong here and it threw me off, the bartender, who played a character called Dove on Batman. And since I'm a huge lover of Scrubs, he was man number 2 in season 4, episode 8, My Last Chance.
What Batman did he play Dove on?
1966.
I didn't know they had Dove in that, like the live action.
I think it's just someone named Dove.
Oh, okay. It wasn't like
I don't think it's
Dove.
the actual character.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I didn't think they did like Hawk and Dove back in the day like that.
No.
That's some deep cuts if they did. Actually, I don't even know if those characters were created by the 60s yet. I don't recall.
I don't know.
Anyways, sorry.
So we got Johnny Jacobs as the TV announcer, who was also a newscaster on My Favorite Martian, and an assistant shop owner on Batman again. So we got a couple Batman, people who go on to Batman,
right?
Obviously, Janet Day, Dey, I think that's right. As the first model who played 3 different characters on Star Trek Voyager and a human spectator in Enterprise. So some Star Trek stuff for you. Okay. Sally Ross as the second model, who's this is her second role, first credited and last acting role in her listed career. And finally, we got Dan Tobin as Reginald Stubbs.
Okay.
That name got me. Oh, that's close. Whoever came up with that, that's clever. Oh, boy.
Alrighty. So, is that all you got for that?
Yep. That's the guest list.
All right. So season 1, episode 30, Country Club Munsters, as Tivis had said. The Munsters win a membership to the highly exclusive Mockingbird Heights Club Country. Wait, let me redo that because I was reading words in not in order. The Munsters win a membership to the highly exclusive Mockingbird Heights Country Club, but the membership board wants to get a close look at the family to see if they meet the club's standards. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. So we open with Herman watching TV and getting upset that he isn't winning whatever contest is going on right now.
Well, the contest was for
various things.
Okay. So it was for, because they were given like different ones out for first, second, or third, or whatever. And go on.
Yeah, so he breaks the couch.
The whole arm off the couch.
Yeah. and exclaims how everyone is cheating. Like all these, every name that's read off, he's
yeah,
they're related to him. They paid him off.
Basically the same stuff we hear nowadays still.
Yeah. And then he even complains about the first prize winner until he realizes that's him.
Yeah. Well, not even up to that. Like as he was getting, he gets really angry, but like they start saying Herman and he's like, oh, Herman, blah, blah, blah. And Herman, blah, blah. Like all the different Hermans, like he knows that live in the neighborhood area or whatever the Heights area is supposed to be. So he starts naming them, and then he hears Munster, and and then he gets pissed off even more when he hears his actual name at first, and then he goes all ecstatic once he realizes it. But then he does this thing where he jumps up and down in the living room and just starts going down into the floor. And that's when Grandpa's like, I'm gonna go down to the dungeon.
At this point, the family all comes down to see what he's yelling about. Grandpa's like, he goes away, and Lily's like, where are you going? I'm gonna go wait for him.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited. Conversation downstairs.
So they're back in the living room, which is weird because you think they would have just had the scene in the dungeon, but maybe they couldn't fit everyone down there. I got a sneeze coming on. They won a membership to Mockingbird Heights Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lifetime membership, so they won't ever get kicked out.
Yeah. Because they can't die. So, haha, funny.
I also have a note here that he won. Did he win like 5,000 or was that a different winner?
I think that was a different winner. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, when we're in the living room, that's another scene where Eddie, for some reason, they keep putting Eddie on the fireplace mantle.
He's always sitting on stuff.
He's always sitting up. Maybe it's because he's like Butch was so short at the time. They wanted him up level with the other characters, possibly.
Maybe. I think, is it the next episode we're going to talk about where he's sitting on the cabinets?
I don't recall.
I know there's an episode we saw where they're in the kitchen and he's just on top of the cabinets that he usually crawls out of.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, in this one, like they have him back up on the mantle. And I feel it's because of the way they shot it. They wanted to have him in frame with all the other actors. Otherwise, he's like down, especially with how tall they put Herman.
Yeah.
And everything. So yeah, I guess that would be my reasoning as to why they do that. But
yeah, the family's all excited about him winning, and Lily has to warn Grandpa not to bite anyone immediately, at least.
She said, "Don't bite, don't bite right off the bat."
Yeah,
I wrote that one down. I was like, "Oh, they're being punny about it."
But it still remains. She said he didn't have to forever, just for now.
Right. Just not right away. And then we leave there and we go to, I guess, the country club manager's office.
The three guys in charge.
Yeah. It's like a whole boardroom of them. And they're going over like how these people won the membership and we got to keep close an eye on them and make sure, they're good and stuff like that.
Two of them are okay with it. One guy is pissed that they gave away a membership through a contest because it lowers their status. And the other two's argument is that it makes them more appealing to the community instead of just stuck up snobs.
I can see both ways.
Yeah.
I can see both because, once you're giving stuff away for free, then it's like, oh, it's not that big of an elite membership to be here. So then why would, there are a lot of elite people out there. They're like, I'm only going to do this because it's something that you have to pay lots of money to do. And you're not getting like these freebies and shit like that.
Yeah. And the one guy who's against it, he's like, all right, I concede for now, but I'm still going to bitch.
Yeah. All right. So after that, we end up going back to the house where Herman's practicing his golf swing with an umbrella.
Breaking everything in the process.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw him doing the golf thing, and then I put two and two together with like golfing and then country club, I was like, oh, so it's another sports episode. This time it's golf.
I'm telling you, we must have a hockey one coming up.
Right.
They're going through all. Is there going to be one where he's in NASCAR next?
They do the dragster.
Yeah.
Dragula is the whole thing. That's their racing one.
I just totally missed my mouth with my water bottle.
But Dragula, I don't think Dragula comes up till season 2. I don't recall.
I'm not sure.
I just remember the car. I know I've seen that episode. Yeah, the Rob Zombie song.
Which doesn't actually have the car in it.
Nope, it has the Munster
coach
in it.
So Lily comes in with the mail. It turns out the mailman is still running from them.
Yeah.
Also, it seems like Herman doesn't mean to be breaking things for once. Like whenever it shatters something, he's like, "Ooh, oops." But Herman hits another ball that zips all around the house off the walls, and then they lose it. And Grandpa just turns to reveal that it's lodged in his ear.
So after that, we get this scene where Lily is talking to Herman about something. I forget what it was.
No, we cut to the 3 country guys with the one guy still complaining.
Oh, and
as Grandpa busts.
Yeah,
Grandpa comes into the room and they're like, "Why is he in costume?"
Yeah. And this is where Grandpa's just trying to like get in good with them and figure out what's
I
going
don't
on.
even, he walked in on accident. He was asking directions for like the front desk or something.
Grandpa doesn't do anything on accident. Let's just, serial killers have a motive for everything that they do.
He doesn't do anything on accident. Let's look at how his potions have accidentally gone wrong in the past.
Were they accidental, or was it him experimenting and just playing it off as an accident?
All right, that's a good argument. I have nothing for that. So as Grandpa and Lily are walking around to the bar, some women come out flaunting a dress and telling them where they got it and how much it was. And I'm like, was that an advertisement?
Well, no, they said that the guys around the table before Grandpa barged in, or maybe it was right after, they stated, oh, we have the swimsuit model or the models around today, so we can utilize that to figure out some stuff. So those were actually models that they're walking around with the stuff, just showing up.
I missed that because the second one comes up to him at the bar and does it, and I was extremely confused at this point.
Yeah,
what?
But they did reference something about models being there, so I was like, okay, those are just walking models. It's not like a runway model thing where they just walking through the party showing off what they have to the ladies and gentlemen and stuff like that.
I'm like, country clubs don't actually have people walking around telling me how much their clothes wear, do they? Because that would get annoying real fast.
I mean, and the price of those clothes for back in the 60s, I'm like, no, I wouldn't even pay 100 and something for that now. Like,
well, and then Lily sees them doing it and decides that she's going to do it for fun.
She just completely trolled the fuck out of them. It was awesome. Yeah, it was fun.
And meanwhile, Grandpa is swindling the bartender with the classic, which hat is it under?
Yeah.
Or not hat, but cup or whatever the hell he was using. It's been a couple weeks since I watched this, people. I've been sitting on this one for so long, and I'm super excited to get to the next episode.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I wrote down the a-hole owner thinks Lily is stoned and convinces the others that they don't want their kind there.
Right. Yeah, it's all, the whole episode's one of those other episodes where it's just about like, oh, they look different, they're act different,
Yeah.
because they're just different.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we still have movies that play out just like this with like the not so wealthy people end up going into like the wealthy area and shit. I mean, look at fucking, what was it? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day. You had Will. Granted, Uncle Phil was rich, but Will wasn't rich, and Will always got treated differently. I'm sure in the new iteration he's going to be treated even worse. But
have you seen the new one?
No,
dude. Uncle Phil is scary.
Yeah.
Oh,
he looks like a gangster. Like a mafia
his character is scary. Okay.
Like, he looks like he's part of the mafia. Like,
yeah, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anyone who is listening to this into the future, the new dramatized version of Fresh Prince is just coming out.
Called Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Nellie and Grandpa are telling Marilyn about how they are wanted at the club and are worried about how to tell Herman.
Yeah. While Herman ends up coming back out in his golf attire. And not only does he come out in his golf attire, freaking Eddie comes out. And they're so adorable together, dude. I was just like, aw, that's so awesome. So good on you, Butch. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that scene with them. One, when they come out into the house and they do it, of course, Herman ends up screwing stuff up, breaking something with the golf club. But then when they actually get out onto the golf course, this is where we have kind of like somewhat of a montage almost.
He doesn't start a fire when he breaks the lamp this time.
Yeah.
Let's make the last time he did this exact motion, the set caught fire.
Yeah.
And I still don't know if that was on purpose.
Who knows with that? We will never know. Yeah.
We need to get Butch on.
What?
We need to get Butch on here, dude.
But before they do actually go to the golf course, there's another scene where, they're discussing everything. And then that's when Herman gets upset and starts jumping up and down again. And then that's when Grandpa is like, I'm going to the dungeon to freaking continue this conversation with him. And it was the same spot too. So clearly they fixed their floors really fast. Or maybe the house is alive.
He also talks about how
Encanto. That's what it is.
He also talks about how this is going to crush his spirit if he can't go there.
Yeah. And then for some reason they don't even continue the scene they're here. They just jump to Marilyn, Lily, and Grandpa reading a note that Herman left saying, yeah, we went to go play golf. Screw you, basically.
And they are so worried about all the rude people staring at them.
Yeah. And then this is where we get our Eddie and Herman golf
on the golf course, which
stuff.
Did I feel this lighting and what he's wearing and stuff, his platforms are pretty obvious in the scene. I felt like I noticed them,
especially because they do foot shots in it a lot in this part.
Yeah.
So you can tell a lot more. Usually he has pants on that hide the majority of the boot, so you can't see where his actual foot is stopping and the heel the height is going. So but yeah,
so Herman begins hitting these things that he thinks are balls put out for them, practice balls.
Yeah.
Were those just lights? If any of our listeners play golf and watch this with us, please email. I'm so curious what those are. I swear they're lights, but I'm not 100%.
I don't think they're lights. I think it's just like they were hyperbolic with him hitting the ball because it blows up every time. But then Eddie puts down a smaller ball after he hits that first one. So I don't know. It's
he hits two, and then Eddie finally puts one down.
Yeah.
Herman also makes a joke. I can't remember what the joke is, but Eddie laughs exactly like Herman, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Gold.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a Butch improvised or they, asked him to do it, but it was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go through the golf course, though. Of course, Herman's gonna do oh no, here's the grass flying.
Hold on. First, he hits his ball and it goes into space. And my first thought is, oh God, he's joining a golf team now.
The alien golf league. Then he crushes the freaking golf cart while he sits in it. I'm curious how they got it out there in the first place if you couldn't handle his weight.
So we also learned that Eddie's eyes are incredibly good because when Herman hits the ball, it goes from hole 1 to the rough of hole 3, which is roughly 1,500 feet away. Yeah. And Eddie can see it.
I mean, he's got vampire werewolf eyes, right?
Yeah.
Whatever he's supposed to be.
So yeah, we get a montage of him hitting the ball out of the sand pit, out of the water. He's just destroying
Eddie with sand. Why
doesn't Eddie move?
He just stands there. It's clearly one sport we find out that Herman is not great at.
Yeah.
I would say.
He doesn't have the light touch.
Right.
Yeah. The restraint. We don't see another player at all during all this, I might add.
maybe the people were avoiding him on purpose. Maybe that was done on purpose. They didn't want to be around him.
But he finally makes it onto the green, and he's trying to putt it in, and he misses like 5 times.
Yeah.
He's getting real frustrated. Yeah. So he knocks it in and goes.
The scene where you see a lot of his shoot too, by the way.
Yes. That, and when he first gets there, there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
So he finally gets it in, begins jumping in celebration. Like he's going into the earth now, but Eddie goes to grab the ball. Herman doesn't notice. He sticks his hand down to grab it way deeper than these holes are supposed to be. I've been on a golf course. I've never played on one, but I've been on one as a kid because we buried a flag once.
It's just a little cup.
Yeah.
Usually. Unless it's one of the golf courses that have like the return, which is weird, but okay.
They pulled up a rabbit. And he's like, oh, that's not the ball.
No, he pulls up the rabbit and then he keeps going. He pulls up a water pipe. And then he keeps going after that for a minute. And then we walk away. And then you see the water just gushing out.
Yeah. And like he's finally like,
geyser.
Dad, I got the ball.
Yeah.
Go over.
And then we go back to the house where Marilyn and all them are discussing stuff. And
Lily's pacing around all worried.
Yep. And then Herman comes downstairs and
he comes in.
I thought he came downstairs, but he must have come in.
I thought he came inside because he had a newspaper.
And then he's going through and that's when Herman finds out what they didn't get the membership or something because the
country club has a madman that destroyed it, and he's worried about his family's safety, so he is declining.
Okay, that's what it was.
And the paper's talking about the water spout, everything else, all the trees that he damaged, and he's like, I'm going to donate the money instead to help them repair. So they did win some money.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is a nice close-up where Herman is voluntarily doing this instead of them having to break Herman's heart again, like we saw in the last 2 episodes, which is nice. I like that deviation from Herman always getting his heart broken because of other people. This time it's, all right, I guess I'll do this to protect my family. He's the hero in the moment in that moment anyways. Yeah.
I love how he thinks there's a madman, even though I believe the picture was of the water spout that he broke.
Yeah, but he walked away before he saw the water pouring out of it.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. Herman is then practicing golf in the house. Again because he enjoys it. And once again, the ball zips around the house and hits Grandpa on the side of the head. Grandpa pleads with him to never start bowling.
Oh, I didn't even think about a bowling episode. Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get one of those.
Herman laughs, pats Grandpa on the shoulder, and knocks the ball at the window. And then he just takes his golf club out of frustration and bends it. And that's how we end.
Sometimes I'm so confused. Like, is he angry? Is he upset? Because the facial remarks that Herman does that Fred did with Herman is like always so confusing. I'm like, is he mad or sad or what's going on? I think he's just
got the emotional depth of a child.
It's just all one thing.
Yeah.
I can see that. Okay.
I don't have any trivia for this. Either there was nothing good or I brought it up in my notes. So.
All right. Well, then you want to do episode 31? Or do you have anything to say on this? What'd you think about it?
Well, we got to give our final thoughts.
Yeah, do your final thoughts on this.
You tell me to go and then you start.
No, I just said sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it was a fun one. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's in the top, but it's one of those ones that if it was just playing, I'd sit down and, enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. There was nothing that necessarily captured me in this episode, except for, like, of course, the Eddie and Herman dressed alikes and the scenes and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. A lot of the other stuff was, it seemed like they wanted to do more with this episode, but instead they used Grandpa, Lily, and Marilyn to just give all the exposition, so we didn't have to do extra scenes or something with, like, the business people, like, looking at them and hating on them and stuff like that. It seemed like there was a lot more that could have been shot, but instead they used those three talking for exposition.
I'm wondering if maybe it was expensive to rent out the golf area.
Maybe. Knows.
It's one of those rare times that we get some scenes outside of the house.
Yeah.
So that's always a welcome change.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. So it wasn't a horrible episode, but it wasn't one of my tops. I'll say that.
It was just enjoyable. So moving on, season 1, episode 31, Love Comes to Mockingbird Heights, written by our favorite trio, Joe Connolly, Bob Mosier, and Norm Liebman, and directed by Joseph Pevney. Who else? The guests this week, or this episode, oh my God, I keep saying that. It's a short list. We got Charles Robinson as Alan Benson, Richard Hale as Uncle Gilbert, who also played Goro on Star Trek, and Duncan McLeod as Ben.
Okay. All right. So episode 31, as Tivis said, Love Comes to Mockingbird Heights. The Munsters receive $180,000 in gold doubloons from Uncle Gilbert in Transylvania. When their bank's assistant manager arrives to pick up their money for the deposit, he falls for Marilyn. And just so everyone knows, I did the math already. For $180,000 back then would be $1,632,472.26 today. So it puts into perspective why the guy does what he does. I mean, what he does is ridiculous and stupid, but I understand possibly why it's a storyline now.
So
and there we go.
We open with possibly the weirdest opening we will hopefully ever get on this show.
Oh no,
with
the role play.
Herman banging on the door and Lily opening to let him in. Herman then asking if Lily's husband is home. They're role playing and it's weird.
The role play is awesome.
It's weird.
No, what's weirder is Herman would hook up with a married woman.
Well, I mean, it's role plays.
I don't understand why people think that role playing and being like, is your husband home? No. Okay, so let's cheat. How is that a fun role play? Like, become a turtle or something. Jeez. Like, I don't know. It's weird, man.
Mike, you have raised so many questions. Feel free to email them in. So Lily then shows him a box that came from Uncle Gilbert, who he thinks is inside the box at first, and begins knocking on it. But no, Gilbert asks them not to open the box until he arrives, to which Herman immediately cracks it open with an axe.
Not only an axe, a Transylvanian Boy Scout hatchet, which isn't that the same type of axe they usually use for beheadings?
It fits.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a beheading axe, man. Like from medieval times.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that he would have one.
But yeah, I love the Transylvanian Boy Scout hatchet. The thing was bigger than Eddie when he brought it out.
That makes you wonder what the Transylvania Boy Scouts get their badges for.
Helping Grandpa get rid of his bodies.
Yeah,
or should I say his wives?
Oh, that's such a dark fact. I know that these aren't meant to be held in such accountability, but once you put all the lines together, Grandpa is such an evil man. Yeah, so they open the box and all the gold spills out.
Mm-hmm.
Lily is confused because Gilbert was never a rich man, but Herman explains Uncle Gilbert used to be a politician. And I feel like there's no further need to explain this joke. Yeah, the bank comes to collect it, and they have some guys from those armored trucks that we all see. Well, we see them in America. I would assume other countries have them too, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking away all the gold to put them in a safe place. When Marilyn comes in, and Mr. Benson and her make eye contact, and it's love at first sight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this I called this as soon as I saw Marilyn come around the corner, because we haven't had a Marilyn relationship episode in a while. Like,
I'm wondering if she might be a siren, because there's a lot of guys who just fall for her. Like, she looks normal, but she's actually got something in her. Maybe
that's the monster part of her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's got to be something about her. I mean,
but anyway, like I as soon as she came around the corner, I was like, oh, sweet, because we haven't had a Marilyn like love interest story, since Pat took over the role, I believe. Actually, I can't remember another one where
just Pat that creepy reporter, I believe.
Which that's not even a love thing. That's like
that was just a creep.
That was date rapist guy.
Yeah,
it was weird. But again, this one ends up turning out to not be so great either of a reasoning. So maybe there has to be something with her to get people to like her. Maybe she's like, I was gonna say necromancer, but that's a completely different thing. Let's just move on before I keep going with that one.
Yeah. Herman comes back from working late, and Lily asks him to keep it down. And Herman is worried that Spot ate the furniture again. Which why would you immediately jump to that if she's telling you to be quiet? Lily tells him that Marilyn's on a date in the living room.
Yeah, and it's weird.
She says it's either love or astigmatism. I forgot about that line. I'm glad I wrote that down. She then proceeds. Oh, go ahead.
I got it. This is what I was thinking of. Not necromancer. An incubus, or no, it would be a succubus because she's a female, right?
Yeah.
So succubus. Maybe she's a succubus. There we go. I know that's not how you pronounce it. It's a succubus. Okay, chill.
Succubus.
I'm trying to come up with a good reason because she is a monster still.
Yeah. So. I'm telling you, there's got to be something with the amount of guys that just fall for her immediately upon looking at her.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to think there's something there.
She's got to have something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another fan theory, man. Everybody, if you think, what do you think monster wise is inside of Marilyn that gets her to attract men all the time?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say females too, but this is the 60s, so maybe not. Maybe in Rob Zombie's version, she'll attract both.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
I can't wait to see that movie, man. I really want to see a trailer for it. Anyways, let's move on.
I just want to, once again, other cast. Tell us who's in it.
Or don't. It's a surprise.
No, I want to know. So she goes up to spy on them, and Herman tells her she needs to butt out.
Oh yeah,
Really,
yeah. Before, she walks out there, checks them out, and then she grabs the freaking pillow, the cushion.
Yeah, I was gonna say she immediately then begins to meddle.
Yeah. And I was looking at the chair. I was like, if he sits back down in that chair, he's going right through it because there was no bottom on it except for the cushion. But then
what did she need the cushion for?
For her, what was it? Birds or no chicken soup? Chicken soup.
She needs the feathers for chicken soup.
But not only does she like say that, she literally rips the cushion open and starts just spreading fucking feathers around the house as she walks away. Even I was just like, what are we doing?
Not only that, Miss Benson goes, your aunt makes chicken soup with feathers, and Marilyn looks at him deadpan is like, doesn't everyone?
Yeah.
Like, so this isn't even out of character for that.
Yeah. Oh, and then we get my computer keeps trying to shut down. Sorry. Then we go back to the kitchen where she says something, I don't remember what she says, but then Grandpa gets up and he's like, all right, well, I'm going to call down to the dungeon because I have Eddie laying in wait, basically.
Which, how he does this is incredibly fascinating. They have a hidden house phone, which is a thing that did exist. My grandparents, and I guess now my dad, because he lives there, they had it used to be a duplex. I keep forgetting I moved my camera. I want to look at you, but and they converted it into a regular house. It was built for railroad workers.
Yeah.
And it had a phone upstairs that connected to a phone in the living room. Yeah. And, by the time I was born, it didn't work anymore, but you could call someone in the house without having to yell.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then after a while too, they just built intercom systems in houses like in the 60s and 70s. There was intercoms all over in the houses, even houses that weren't that big. It's like, I can't raise my voice just a little bit. So.
People who yell for others in the house, if you have phones, why are you not just texting them? It's real weird. My wife does it all the time. I don't get it. If
your house is like less than 5,000 square feet, just say, hey, come here.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then Grandpa calls down to the dungeon, and that's where Eddie's laying in wait, and
this scene is so good.
He starts creeping up with this weird ass smile on his face
with smoke billowing out.
Yeah. And then what was the guy's name again?
Benson. Mr. Benson.
He looks over and sees it and gets freaked the fuck out.
Well, understandably.
And then she's like, oh no, that's just my nephew, and he's like, Eddie just comes out and he's like, I have to get a light bulb for the basement, and he just pulls the bulb out.
It's still lit.
Yeah, still lit, all like Uncle Fester style. Sorry.
It goes right back into the
It goes right back in there. So that was interesting.
It's honestly my favorite scene from this episode.
And then after that, we get go back to the kitchen where Grandpa ends up just trying a spell, basically.
He wants Lily wants some love music playing.
Yeah.
So we get confirmation of what this is. It is an organ. The organ begins playing.
So does Grandpa, I'm assuming Grandpa's casting a spell, right? It's not the invisible man that we thought of before.
No, it's definitely magic because of course it goes horribly wrong and it starts shooting out flames. And even Marilyn is scared out of her mind because it doesn't do this.
Yeah. And they scream for Aunt Lily and Uncle Herman, they run in. Well, Lily and Grandpa run into the room because Herman's like, "You made your bed, you go live, go lay in it."
And then Lily calls out for concern for Herman, and he immediately gets up. He's like, "Oh no, they really need me." So he grabs a blanket and smothers the orphan.
Well, this is after Benson dips. He leaves before he sees Herman, because he never sees Herman until way later. So he runs out of there and gets out of Dodge real fast. Then Herman puts the fire out. He just covers it with the blanket and holds it. Holds the thing still until it's done.
he smothers it. Literally.
And then oh geez, sorry. And this is where we go to the scene of Benson drinking tea at his buddy's house place. Yeah. And this is where we find out he's a piece of shit and just wants Marilyn for her money, which isn't even her money. And it's not even like the Munsters' money, at least unless Gilbert is a Munster. But as far as he thinks it's the family money. No part of this episode have they ever said that the money was Marilyn's. And if it was her uncles and aunts, what makes him think he would get the money?
It's a horrible plan.
Most of the plans are horrible in here and very contrived, but yeah.
What is the male version of the Black Widow?
It should be a Black Widow, right?
Would it? Okay.
I believe so. I don't know.
I did. This is the second time this family has had a money grabber. Because remember, Grandpa had one when he tried to get a mail order bread or whatever it was. So the family's eating, and they're like, "Where's Marilyn? She's out on her fourth date." But he refuses to walk into the house still. Grandpa then magics some sausage onto his plate, and I'm like, why don't you do that for all the meals?
Yeah. Apparently a male one. I'm sorry. A male one is just called a spousal killer.
Okay.
So lame.
It's self-explanatory.
That's lame. We need to come up with a better name.
Yeah.
Let's take that back.
I don't know if that's the stance you want to take. Yeah, after seeing Grandpa get the sausage onto his plate, I'm like, why don't you help Lily out more, you piece of shit?
Yeah, Grandpa, he uses his magic stuff for random ass things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she enjoys it. There's some people who just like staying home, which is,
that's what she does, though. She doesn't work, or she doesn't have an actual job, I should say. She does a lot of work because she's at the house.
Charity work, but
yeah, that too. This is where we have them discussing
Benson proposing to Marilyn.
And we get this weird eye batting scene between Lily and Herman. That was just like, wait, what?
Yeah, as Herman hopes they have the kind of love that they have.
Yeah.
So Benson is actually talking to Marilyn about marriage as well, but his is convincing her to elope.
Yep.
And after a lot of convincing, she agrees.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, well, if your family doesn't like me and blah, 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 and they convince you not to do it, and I'm like, okay, I can understand that, but you've known each other for a day. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Nobody is that pretty. Maybe he's a succubus or an incubus. Sorry. Maybe he's the incubus.
I think this is just, from her perspective, a classic case of everyone keeps rejecting her because of her family.
I guess.
She finally has someone who's into her, or so she thinks. It's real tragic with her.
Very tragic.
Yeah. So Lily gets a telegram through the phone, I might add, from Gilbert. And they're all excited that he's going to be there for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Which they already knew he was coming up or over, down, or wherever, from wherever they already knew he was coming in.
Yeah.
Down. We just didn't know when exactly, I guess.
The topic gets pushed back to Marilyn getting married. And my notes here are they want her to get married faster than Benson does.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand it too, because like they're in some episodes they're like, okay, she needs to do college, she needs to do this, and this. Then other episodes they're just like trying to marry her off like fast, like they're kind of like the parents like back in the olden days where they
don't
would
want her to
marry
become an old spinster.
Yeah, I guess. But it just kind of comes off as like they're going to make some monetary gain the faster they marry their daughter off. It's not even their daughter, actually. It's their niece.
Yeah.
But I guess also too, we got to take it from their point of view as the Munsters. They think Marilyn is unattractive,
disfigured.
Yeah, disfigured. So I guess, you don't want her being what they thought back in the day, 30-year-old women needed to be married by then or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know when that stigma got out of her.
See, I'm not the only one misusing words today.
Hey, Mike.
Okay.
Do you remember Benson's friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. He calls the family. What does he say?
He warns them about the eloping and the money. So yeah, then Grandpa and Lily end up I'm trying to remember how they did it exactly.
Well, first they tell Herman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is going on with me?
Herman.
And they all have a plan to stop him from breaking her heart.
Yeah.
And this plan is so fucking crazy.
But it's so much fun.
You want to say it, or do you want me to?
You can go ahead.
So Grandpa's plan is to use his magic to transport Marilyn to Transylvania. Mm. And they're all going to do it. Looks like he wants to say it's a horrible idea, but Lily cuts him off and goes, "That's a great plan." As Marilyn comes down, they have like sort of an intervention type thing going on. Yeah. Where they all stand up around her. And she's real confused. And Herman goes, makes a joke about her deceptive grandpa has something to say. And he does the magic spell. And at first I'm like, oh no, they sent Herman to Transylvania.
Well, he does this weird, like with his finger, just all this gas, like smoke comes out of his finger.
Yeah, it envelops the house.
Yeah.
Herman's confused, like, where is everyone else?
Yeah.
And it's revealed, no, everyone but Herman got sent to Transylvania. They call him from a hotel.
Mm-hmm. Which, why do you think that is?
Because Grandpa sucks at magic?
Or maybe Grandpa did it on purpose. He's trying to run away with his family and leave his son-in-law.
Well, yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
Like, nope, fuck you.
Yeah, he's like, Herman, go read the return home spell.
Yeah.
And so Herman rushes down to the dungeon, comes rushing back up, complains that the book snapped at him again, which I think this was a previous episode where it just closes on his hand.
Yeah.
So that's nice that they're referencing that. Then they're like, did you get the spell? He's like, no, I forgot it. He goes and rushes back down to the basement and comes back up. The book attacked me. I don't know. They're like, you're useless.
Yeah. He it's
Lily finally takes the phone and is like, please go explain what is happening to Marilyn. She's so confused still.
Yeah, and she's still under the assumption that she's going to elope as well.
With Ben's, yeah.
That same night, I believe it was.
Yeah. So
and go on.
Lily's like, Herman, go wait for Benson and confront him. And Herman is worried that he'll notice that the voice is different. And it's like, just don't marry him.
Yeah, well, I'm not telling you to elope with him. I'm telling you to talk to him. Yeah, this is funny part. So, damn it, I keep thinking about why he possibly didn't go with them. Besides the story.
Well, he talks about how Herman's like, well, when I give him a piece of my mind, I can be terrifying. And I'm like, I'm just immediately thinking back to the Wrecking Crew where he was totally doing that shit on purpose. I'm like, yeah, you can. And we finally see Marilyn's room.
Yeah, somewhat. It's really dark in there most of the time.
It's just a normal room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I expected her to be living in the same lifestyle, but I guess not. Herman is disgusted by the furniture and shuts the light off.
Yeah.
And then falls asleep.
And then that's when we see Mr. Benson outside the house with a ladder.
A terrifying ladder.
A very horrible lather. I would not trust it. And the wind's blowing too. Nope. To go up to her terrace and sneak in because he's climbing up to the doors, the balcony. Where he
apparently they all must have a balcony.
Maybe. I would assume, I guess it depends. I would have to see another shot of the front of the house or the back of the house, even.
I think it's on the side.
That one, maybe. Anyway, so he goes up there and he gets into the room and goes up and he starts talking. He hears or he touches Herman's hand.
No, he hears him snoring at first and believes it to be Marilyn.
And he's like, yeah, could you not? That's disgusting. He was being a dick. He's a mess. Could you just not please snore? Just don't be human, please. And so then he
grabs Herman's hand.
Yeah. And
which complains about wearing mittens. So I'm like, oh, it's the return of Herman's hairy hands.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he must be wearing gloves. And then we get a scene where he turns the light on and Herman sits up and Herman doesn't do anything. He just sits up and the guy dives out the fucking door.
Well, doesn't he start yelling at first, which causes Herman to start yelling?
A little bit.
Like they both scared each other.
Yeah. But this dude, okay, so I love this scene because it was really cool effect, I thought.
Oh, I forgot about this.
He dives out the window, but perfectly lands on the ladder. So he slides down the ladder and he burrows into the ground and like tremors his way out of the yard. And the effect that they did on that was really cool. I was like, dude, that was awesome. And then he ends up popping up out of somewhere else. I'm not sure where he came out. I think it's like right outside their wall.
It's right by his car.
Yeah. How this dude is not covered in dirt baffles me when he gets out of the ground, though. Like, not even just like the character himself, but the actual actor. I was like, how are you not covered in dirt? I guess maybe it was just like a dirt over like a net when he pops out of the ground.
Maybe
we all know he wasn't the one that was in the ground. That was just an effect. So, but it was still a really cool effect, I say. But then we have everybody's back at the house, and it turns out they had to fly back because they couldn't get their potion or whatever, the return spell to work.
And Grandpa offered to fly them all back, but Lily just rolls her eyes.
Yeah. Which couldn't Lily fly herself back? Is she not a vampire too?
We have no indication that she could turn into a bat.
Is she a vampire? Is she Frankenstein's bride?
I believe she's supposed to be a vampire.
I don't know.
But yeah, so it's the weekend, which means they have a guest.
Uncle Gilbert.
And this blew me away. I had no idea this was coming. This is like, I know we had talked about it, but
yeah.
Oh man.
This is the one that that I got spoiled on the image of. And it sucks because it's like one of my favorite like Universal monsters too. Mm-hmm. And so what do we get here, Tivis?
Well, Gilbert walks in and it's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes. In a suit, by the way, like a weird, like he's got this jacket on, like this gray jacket over top of his business outfit. Or not gray jacket, like a Dick Tracy kind of jacket over top of his business suit, because he's wearing an all black suit and everything. And he's talking about it, and they're asking him, you know, where did he get the money and all that stuff. Actually, first he gets out of his suit because he's like, I just need to get out of this.
Yeah, it's too dry in here.
Yeah. And then they tell him, well, we put your money all in the bank. And he's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, he's not upset at all that they opened the box that he specifically told them not to open until he's there.
Yeah. And that's when Eddie goes and asks, well, where did you make all that money?
He's like, oh, there's all kinds of ships at the bottom of my Black Lagoon. And I'm like, oh my God, it actually is. It is the creature.
Yeah.
Like,
I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, this is the first time they've mentioned that one of them was actually because he says it pays to be the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. Yeah.
And then he spouts out some water out of his out of his head, isn't it? And then that's how we end the episode.
Yeah. The water's pouring out of his gills there.
So I'm curious, how big is a lagoon?
I don't know.
It's a shallow body of water. So how the hell does he have ships?
I mean, he didn't say he found all that stuff in his lagoon, did he?
He implied, but I have to assume that's not possible. But yeah, that was awesome. That's a shame that you got spoiled for that, because I saw that, I was like, oh, because this is one of the few episodes I watched where I didn't do the trivia first, so I had no idea that was coming.
And I think too that this is the same exact design. I'm looking back to back at the creature and him, and it's like almost the exact same mask. They might have used the same prosthetic.
It could have. I know one of the only trivia fact I have actually is that you can see Richard Hale's mouth through the costume, but I actually thought it added to the look.
Yeah.
This was a really fun one. I've been excited to talk about this for like weeks now.
I enjoyed this one, especially because, you know, one of my favorite monsters is in it and everything. I don't really have much else I can say besides I enjoyed the heck out of this episode. And I like to see that this Marilyn, because I don't recall Pat Priest having a love interest story since she came in. So it was nice to see.
Yeah, I don't think either actress has had one, you know, as tragic as this. Of the guy just into her for
the money. Yeah. Well, most of the guys seem like they were just into her because of her looks. And that's a whole nother thing. Like, why? Like, I get the first attraction. Yeah. Okay. But that's the only reason? Nothing else? Marilyn's nothing but a body to them, it seems. Just sad. I'm sorry, Marilyn. Yep. Tivis over here being a misogynist, be like, oh no, she's only a woman. She's just a bot. No, I'm just messing with you, dude. I'm just
You know, this is an audio show mostly, right? No one's going to see my face looking at you bewildered.
But no, yeah, I felt bad for Marilyn in this episode because it was one of those, like, really just the money. Like, you just want money. Because when you first see them look at each other, you did feel like a connection kind of coming through. And I feel like at a certain point, the writers were like, oh, no, we wrote that, but we're going to change it up because we don't want her to have a long-term love interest in the show right now.
Yeah.
Because the way they introduced them to meet each other was really good. And I was just like, I can't believe that that's the same look, you know, that you give someone just because you want their money. But
yeah.
Yep. Who knows? Con men are con men. We get a lot of con men in the Munsters. Maybe that says something about the 60s. Like, yeah,
possibly.
Let's see. Make sure I have any more notes for this episode. Nope. Because I stated how much 180,000 was, so we are good. At least on my note side.
Next week, knock on wood, will be Mummy Munster and Lily Munster Girl Model.
And that's episode 32 and 33.
Yep. We are nearing the end of season 1 here.
All right.
It's been fun. I'm enjoying this show more than I ever thought I would. And I enjoyed it before.
Yeah. I actually turned on these episodes last night while we were playing some family games and stuff and watching it with the kids and everything, getting them in there to watch them in there, all that. So yeah, it's been fun to be able to do that with family and to be able to talk about these things with somebody like you, Tivis. I really appreciate you doing this with me. I know I came up, I was like, hey, dude, you want to do this podcast? Like, you just want to do that? And you're like, sure. So not many people out there I know personally like this will discuss older content with me. Everyone wants to discuss all the new stuff, which we will. I mean, Rob Zombie's movie's coming out, so
yeah. We'll see if it comes out before we finish this original series. I kind of hope not, just to have the whole catalog in our minds, but
right. It might. I think it comes out sometime in like October or something like that of 2022. But things might get pushed back because everything's getting pushed. So who knows?
Yeah. And things are pretty restrictive over where he's filming. So who knows how much he's getting done.
Yeah. And if he's putting a Munsters movie out, he needs to do it in October. Putting it out in the summertime would just be weird. And putting it out for Christmas would be weird unless it's a Christmas Munsters movie. You know.
Which I think there is one. We will get to it.
Yeah.
We will get to it.
All right, man. You got any last words for this episode or for the overall show today?
Oogie, I haven't forgotten you.
Okay, we're going to close with that. With that said, guys, thanks for listening, and you can catch us next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.